everybody. Welcome to the daily update for Tuesday, March 3rd, 2026. Happy Tuesday. What do we say for Tuesday? Taco Tuesday? Oh, that's what it used to be when I was a kid. God, In Excess. Man, that band is one of the bands that's like the soundtrack of my youth. I couldn't even listen to YouTube. Hey, it's letters, right? A lot of letters together. I couldn't listen to In Excess for so many years after Michael Hutchence died because it was just too painful. Great band. Saw them 2, 3, maybe 4 times back in the 80s and early 90s. Anyway, so, hey, what a market. Let's get this out of here. I think that's some Shabu Shaba. Great album. So, what I want to do is I want to talk about how you could have made money today. And you're going to say, well, today's over. What does it matter? The ways I'm going to talk about making money today are just like cookie cutter techniques. And once you get them down, you just do them over and over and over again. So maybe the opportunities are gone for today, but there'll be more opportunities tomorrow, or next week, next month, next year, next decade, whatever. And you just do them over and over again. Everything I'm going to show you here was posted in real time in the trading room, as I do always. I never am going to talk about a trade I did that I didn't talk about in real time. So this isn't like Monday morning quarterbacking. This is stuff that really happened. So let's start with some context. The context was, got up this morning, like 4 o'clock Pacific time. Markets around the world are dropping. The Kospi is down 6%. NASDAQ futures were down, I think, 600 points at one point. So it feels like, oh my God, one of those days. But here's the thing. Come into the trading room, nobody's panicking. We're like, this sucks. Totally. It did, right? Because we thought we'd have maybe a fall through day from yesterday. But nobody's panicking, right? And the other thing we're not doing is we're not predicting. We're not predicting what's going to happen. Like, oh no, here we go. This is the big one. Because whenever we predict, that means we're focusing on something we think is going to happen. Not only will that thing possibly not happen, but that we're not paying attention to what could happen over here, like what could be happening. So come into the trading room. Nobody's freaking out. It sucks, but we're keeping our options open. And there were so many things that you could have taken advantage of. Let me give you an example, one of them. So ASTS had earnings yesterday after the bell. All right. And let me just pick a headline, right? ASTS Space Mobile stock rises after larger than expected loss. All right. That's from Barron's. So you've got ASTS here. Let's show it before the open, right? So let's think about that context again. NASDAQ's down 600 points. Markets around the world are imploding. ASTS has larger than expected loss, and the stock is up pre-market or down just a little bit. Okay, here's what that is. That is signal. That's someone shooting a bat signal in the sky going, hey, pay attention to this. Something is different here, okay? So, all right, we put ASTS on our radar. Then we have an open where a lot of names just flip in the first bar. Look at this. Path, big gap down. Whoo! All the way back to break even before it came in a little bit. How about Poet? Almost all the way back to break even on that first 5-minute bar. How about IGV? Software name you'd think would be most at risk. Big bar. So we're getting these little heads up, and these were all posted in the trading room literally 4 minutes after the open. What happens in these situations is you put alerts. You put alerts at the low of the previous day. You put alerts at the break-even spots. You put alerts above intraday basis so that you don't have to sit there and watch 2,500 stocks. They come to you. Then things start triggering, okay? So later, here's what happens, right? ASTS, green post earnings, post disappointing earnings. Signal ahead. This was at 7:39. So let's take a look at what 7:39 Pacific time, where we're at when ASTS, 7:39. My glasses on. All right. So there's 7:39 is like right about there in this area here. And what do we have forming right here? We've got this beautiful bull flag forming like this on ASTS, right? So you could have either bought it off the 20 intraday, or you could have waited till it went here. And look at this tight base. Look how tight it gets here. Right? What are we looking at here? 935 to, maybe like 85 cents, maybe less if you go with the bodies here, the bodies of these candles. And then boom, you could get in here and just ride this baby all the way up till either it closes below the 5 or the 9. And that's what? 7 points, right? So that's cash flow trading. That's one way you could have made money. You could have done this on a number of different names, right? I won't go through the whole list, but there were a ton of them. We posted them in real time in the Discord. Another name that had a nice reversal today was Bros. If I could pull it up, Bros. Why is Bros not pulling up? Let's see. There it is. Oh, we had a little lag with a trading view. Okay, so Bros sells off below the low of the day. You get this little turn here, and it starts firming up. Again, this is something that we posted in here at some point. You see, I'm posting these in real time as they're looking better. Path, not Wolf, obviously, but Bros, right? It's Bros, right? Like forming this little hammer. So the point is, you're looking for relative strength, good relative strength, then putting some alerts on key levels, figuring out a base intraday that you can get involved in, and then, taking the trade. By the way, if you go to the Lund Loop website, let me pause here for a second. And if you're a paid subscriber, you can go to the Deconstructing a Trade tab. And I've done the hard work for you. I've actually now grouped these into a new category. These are all deconstructing a trade videos I've done in the past, but I put them under gap trading strategies. So for example, how to manage a big gap down open, trading a gap up off the watch list, finding entries off an opening gap. Hey, how about this? Taking a surgical long trade on a big down day. And how about this? Cash flow trading after a big down day. So these go into real minute detail on everything I'm talking about here. Like I said, and Lund Loop subscribers can get access to these and about 120 other videos on all different aspects of technical analysis. All right, so what are some other ways you could have made money today? Well, here's another way. LTR. All right, so this is something I talked about yesterday. Go to yesterday's daily update. Look at the free intro part when I went over this in detail. Palantir was a name that we put on the daily setups list here. Why? Because it had held this level a number of times. It had a very narrow bar here where we can manage our risk. Put it on the daily setups list. It triggered the next day. I actually kept it on the daily setups because I thought it could still extend. It did, and it went up to this pivot right here. And I said yesterday, this is a spot where you can take some profit. Why do you take profit there? First of all, you lock in profit, then you take down your size. So maybe you take it down by a quarter or by a half. That means you could go all the way back to your breakout point and still be profitable. It gives you a lot of room, right? The market doesn't force you to make a decision here, especially if we get a nasty open like today. So if you had done that, you get a nasty open like today, you don't necessarily have to sell it because you got profit locked in for a while. And what do? You just wait for this reversal, and then you've made money, right? So that's another way, by planning ahead of time and being strategic and making sure you lock in some profit, and by taking a little bit of risk off at a point that makes sense, you can then hold, you have flexibility on a day like today, which is a little squishy. What's another way that you could have made money today? This one would have required a little bit of planning ahead of time. What you could have done is you could have started buying back puts that you sold at pivot spots, right? To get cash flow, to bring your cost basis down on core positions. I've had a number of core positions that I want to hold long term, but I want to create a lower cost basis, or I want to get in at a lower price. Oscar, ONDS, Poet, what else? Path, right? So for example, today I bought back so I sold Oscar puts a little while back, 13 puts for $1.24. I bought them back today for 89% profit. I had sold them on, what day did I sell? I sold them on the 5th, right? I've been doing this pretty regularly on names like ONDS, things, selling puts here, selling puts here, and then buying them back when you get these spikes. Doing the same thing in Poet, right? Selling some of these things down in these areas, buying them back on the spike, getting your cost basis down, or taking delivery of shares, but at a lower cost basis. So the point is, there were lots of ways to make money today. To be honest, there's more than 3 ways, because there were at least 10 names that did reversals similar to what you saw in ASTS that you could have got in. But then again, you could have also been collecting the premiums on things that you sold before that you want to get into longer term. And you could have just been converting day trades into swing trades if the price action, like something that we saw in Palantir, warranted it. The whole point is you always want to have flexibility. You never want the market to make the decision for you, right? So, I think a lot of people probably got blown out today at the low because they levered up yesterday at the close. They thought it was a reversal. We're going to look at the daily watch list a little bit later in this video. And yesterday I didn't add anything. Like, yesterday felt like a day that we should have added, but nothing set up. So it was not a risk on day, but I think a lot of people got blown out. A lot of people also probably thought we were falling off a cliff today and this was it. So they said, I'm done. I'm worn out. I sold my stuff. And just right when the market reverses. So the point is, stay calm. Don't predict what you think is going to happen. Watch for these signals, use alerts, and find risk reward areas that make sense. And then we just do it over and over again. And if you want to, get some infrastructure on this, if you want to get some support on this, join us in the Lund Loop, right? We do this every single day, Monday through Friday in the trading room. And I do this daily update at the end that hopefully reinforces this stuff. It's a great community. Lots of people in here that have way more experience than I do in all different ways of trading, all different aspects of trading, all different types of products. So we'd love to have you as part of our group. All right, so now we're going to go to the paid part. So if you want to watch the full video and you're watching this on Twitter, click the link in the reply. And if you're watching it on YouTube, click the link in the comments. All right, so